Dropshipping gurus are gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna be discussing today the trap of dropshipping, and also at the same time, obviously, how I solved it and how you can solve it as well. Buckle up. So, listen up. Imagine you make 100K in revenue with your e-commerce store. You tell your grandma, your grandfather, Dad, I made 100K in revenue. Absolutely crazy. So, what are the usual economics of that number? Let's say this number consists minus, right, the cost that you usually think that you have, minus the cost of goods, the advertising costs, right? So let's say the cost of goods in this particular case can be 30%, advertising costs, let's say another 30%, and then hey, that is 60%, so I should be having 40K in my bank account now. So what are some other costs that people neglect? Probably by now you have employees, right? Employee costs. Let's say this is 5%. What about, for example, transaction costs? So you are using Stripe or Shopify payments. Let's say in this particular case, if we take it a bit high, you can say this is another 5%. And then at the same time as well, let's talk about refunds. Nobody talks about refunds. Refunds, let's say in a regular e-commerce business, let's say is also probably around another 5%. And I'm not talking here about the dispute rate or chargeback rate. I'm talking about the amount of refunds you have. So in total, 60, 65, 70, 75. So you have 25% left. These are the three components that no single guru, when they make a YouTube video and they tell you they have 30, 40, 50% profit margin on their dropshipping stores, they never tell you about this part, which is 15% of the amount of revenue that you have made. It's not out there. They never show you that. They always talk about the revenue. Now, why? And it doesn't only end here, guys. Keep on listening, all right? So even if, let's say you made 100K revenue, right? So you have payment processors. So let's say regular. You are selling with credit card and you are selling with a PayPal, okay? Credit card. Let's say you have a payout date of 3 to 7 days, okay? And then in the first 100K or 200K revenue that you do with ecom, you won't really run into too many payment processing issues. All that stuff comes way later. When you're scaling harder, your banks are gonna look at your payment processing and be like, oh, okay, this might be a risk. Maybe this guy can be a no shipper because you're drop shipping and it can be more risky. So what happens after that? You will probably get a rolling reserve on your credit card payment processor anywhere between, let's say around, like 5%. Okay, so 5% of your money is gonna be hold. Okay, and this 5% with Shopify payments, it can be 120 days. Maybe with some even it can be, let's say if you're lucky as well, 60 days. So 5% of the money that comes into your business is gonna be hold for 120 or 60 days. This is normal. And now let's talk, for example, here about PayPal. Now PayPal is even more interesting because when you start selling with PayPal, at first with the new PayPal account, you have a 21 days hold. So every payment that comes in will be held for 21 days. I make a bunch of videos on product research, on ad creatives, on starting your first store, and you name it. I've made all of them. But this one's crucial. Nobody talks about this. I want you to listen to this. Because if you will neglect this, the first time when you start making money with ecom, you're probably afterwards you're gonna quit because you're gonna be like, I made all this money, but I don't really have money. This shit doesn't work. But no, I'm gonna give you guys a solution that I've been doing and the system that I built to make sure that whenever I faced this issue and I thought, hey, this shit doesn't work, I found a way out of it. You can do too. So with PayPal, you have a 21 days hold. And after that, what happens? You get your first review, right? First review with PayPal. It doesn't matter which PayPal you have, from which entity, whether it's US, it's Hong Kong, it's a Dutch PayPal, it really doesn't matter. And then what are they gonna ask? Tracking codes, they're gonna ask for invoice from your supplier, they're gonna ask product quality pictures, etc., you name it. Make sure you get them ready. And so, after the first review, when you have sent them out all the information, then what you will get is either on the second review, which is maybe the same as the first, which is going to be the same as the first, or it will be the big review. It can happen the second or on the third one, which is a big review. Okay, what is the big review? They're going to ask maybe 5 times the amount of information you had on your first review, and they will do a deep routine check, not just one random AI check, but a deep routine check manually done by PayPal itself to check if you're legit. And if you get through that, that is the moment, right? So all before this big review, what happens with your PayPal account? After the first review, this 21 days hold is going to be gone, and then you can, every few days, you can slowly take maybe sometimes half the money out, maybe not. But after this big review, which usually gets after you've scaled to 100, 200, or 300k, 100, 200, 300k in revenue, you get it. When you go through that, PayPal is going to give you a plan, all right? So when you have this plan, what happens? They give you at first a fixed amount that they will hold and / or a percentage that they will hold is usually between 5 and 25% for 60 or 90 days. Okay, so sometimes you only get this one, right? You will for sure get the percentage and hold that they will keep a little bit, but the fixed one is what you only get if you had a high dispute rate and you had more complaints than you should have actually, because the limit is 1.5%. When in Hong Kong or Singapore PayPal, it can go up to 5-6. You know, especially if you sell fashion, Asians understand more this type of game, so they will not really worry too much. So what happens? Either one of those. So credit card payments are already holding 5% of all your revenue, and then PayPal, let's say in a normal situation, they're going to hold, let's say, 50% of your revenue. So in total, 20% is going to be hold. So what happens? From the first 50%, you have a 5% hold. So what is that? 100k in revenue divided by 100k in revenue, 50% of it is 50k. From the 50k, they will take 5%, which is 2.5k. Okay? So 2,500 they will hold. From the other 50% in here, right, from the 50k, they will take, let's say, which is regular, at 20%. At 20%, that is 10k. So you add up another 10k, which the hold will be 12.5k. So 12.5k out of the 100k in revenue is going to be hold, which basically is 12.5% of the money you made on the 100k. And if your profit margin is 25%, it means the half of it already is going to stay there for a while. So what happens, essentially what's going to happen, guys, is that you think that you are making cash flow positive. You think you are making, right, 25% out of the 100k in profit, which is 25k. No, you make 12.5k, and the other 12.5k, which is the half of it, you will get it after a month. You know, you're not losing the money is yours, but it's just in the bank, and the banks are holding this money for one purpose. There's a bunch of no shippers in the market, and what happens is a payment process allows that they can collect. A payment process allows that you can collect payments, so it goes to the bank. So what happens is if you make a lot of money with the payment processor and then boom, suddenly you just go off, you make a bunch of money, and before you get all these disputes or refunds and complaints on your store, you jump off. What happens? You're going to lose a lot of money because the payment processor wants to charge you for all chargebacks, but you're gone. They don't have a safety net. Every single payment processor has a safety net, which is totally fine. I get it. So what happens essentially, you keep 12.5k. What do most dropshippers do? Even if they don't get a hold, they spend all this money by traveling, crazy lifestyle, they buy a crazy watch, and they go really insane, thinking they have freedom. Now that's not what you should be doing. What you should be doing instead is, even those 12.5k, if you have zero money, okay, take 2k out for yourself, still stay at your parents' place or barely go out, eat shit, and hustle every single day, even in your 20s, it's worth it, believe me. And all of this money, you reinvest really back again into your whole business, okay? Because where the average dropshipper takes this money and allocates this for personal gain, right, for personal gain, you put it back into the business. So when the second month comes, and then what happens is that this person who took all the money for personal gain and went to Bali, Dubai, you name it, all these nice places, this person here stayed consistent. And when they do get a hold, which happens with the payment process sometimes, they can just switch up, go to a different payment processor. There's a bunch of solutions out there, and they can keep on selling because they still have a good money amount in their bank account. But this person right here, right, this person, I'm gonna make it red, this is where you wanna be. Your business profits are not your personal profits. Remember that. Please remember that. If you're running an e-com business, scale from the back end to the front end. Check what's going on right there. That's good. In the back, no complaints, low dispute rates. Your team is dialed in, the execution is good, so not only the strategy, but also the execution is good, then you're gonna go ahead for personal. This is why I always talk about, guys, is no trenches, okay, and repeat with me, no trenches, no glory. Because the trenches, you should be in there longer than you think. And what happens if you keep doing this for a couple of months, you generate good amount of money, and when you do go to that certain place, because you finally have the freedom, you can do whatever the hell you want. Don't celebrate too early. Remember what Kobe Bryant said when they, shout out to Kobe Bryant, bro, Black Mamba, when they won a very important match against, I can remember who, and there was still a second or third leg as well. And the guy was saying, he said, Kobe, you're not celebrating, why not? He said, job finish, job not finished. And you're in the same point. Job is not finished yet. You still have to keep on pushing. I did the same. When I had my first winning product, I stayed to it, and I only started going to other places when I had 120, 150k in my bank account. Before that, I didn't spend any of it, because thank God I had my mentor. This is why I value mentors a lot. My mentor told me, Farouk, you're gonna have one day it's gonna happen. Right now, the crane is open and you have this bottle and there's water coming and it's floating and there's too much water. Your bucket can't keep up with all the water that's coming in, aka your ATM, your money machine right now. But there's gonna be one day, randomly, the crane is gonna stop. And you better have enough water then, aka money, inside that bucket. Because you're gonna need that for a while to make a comeback. I've experienced every single time in my life where I had insane amount of failures where it happened. When those biggest failures happen, I made a lot of money after that. And I managed to make a lot of money after that as well, because I just simply, and I managed to make a lot of money after that because the universe rewards those who work very hard. As long as you keep on believing in yourself and you just go, you just understand that every single fucked up shit that happens to you is bound to happen, and you just keep on pushing to the right path, the universe is gonna reward you. The universe likes hustlers. If you're a hustler, keep at it. It's gonna happen. And now, the most important part of the video. What is the solution to all of this? Because this all sounds like a horror story to you, right? But even if you have this situation, you can still scale like a maniac. Now, the most important thing about all of this and why people get this issue and these annoying holds, etc., is because what they do, you have in a business, you have the front end, which is the creatives, sales, marketing, all that stuff that you see, which looks very cool. And you have obviously the back end. So what most people do, they just scale like an idiot from here, boom, or let's say to this. The backend gets all the heat. Instead, what you should be doing is going for the backend here, all the way to the front end. So you need to check in here, what's going good in here, the products, can I actually sell them? How is the quality? How is the delivery dates? How many can I source? How is the fabric? Can my agent handle this amount of volume? By the way, if you want a good agent, check out the description, discord.gg/astroship, very important. It's my private supplier as well, by the way. I scaled to millions with them. So you just go to Discord, open a ticket, and they will help you. Very important for the backend, Astroship. So you go from the backend to the front end. So that is the number one philosophy that you gotta have. Because why is this so important? It's important because why do payment process hold your money? Payment process hold your money or give you shit plans where you have a bad cash flow, aka you can't really enjoy spending your money. They do it for one of the few reasons. They do it because your dispute rate is just too high. How do you get your dispute rate to be lower? Especially now as well with the new VAMP rule, VAMP rule of Visa. That got a little bit more complex. Thank God only Visa, not MasterCard, so only Visa you have this. But what happens, we use a tool, it's called chargeback.io. So look them up, guys. Chargeback.io. This is a nice software because if you're selling a product, normally what should happen is that a customer, if they have a complaint, they should at first send you an email, and then if you can't come to a solution with the customer about either fully refunding them or partially refunding them, or they don't want to send you back the product, what the customer can do is open a dispute, right? A dispute. A dispute can go in two ways, or even if the dispute happens immediately, your dispute rate is going to increase because payment processors don't just look at chargeback rates, they look at dispute rate. It's more important for them. You can either win them or you lose them. And the best way, of course, is to win them by having a very relaxed refund system and by settling with the customer. Why Chargeback.io is so important is your payment process, they get shut down because your dispute rate is too high. And what Chargeback.io does is intersect at first those disputes that you have, that they get in, they send you an alert, and then you can also automatically refund them before it becomes a real chargeback in the system. And that is why exactly, guys, Chargeback.io is so fucking necessary. And that is why I use it all the time for all of my stores that I'm running. So what happens? Your payment processes don't go randomly down. You get way better plans with your payment processor. So one, it doesn't go down, and second part, you hold more liquid in cash flow. That is why I'm able to live this amazing life full of freedom. I was saying to my friend the other day, let's go to Miami and just chill, go to the beach maybe, and we just have liquid cash flow. You can have all this money, but if it's stuck in all the payment processors or whatever it may be, it's fucked up. One of the things I do enjoy a lot, and guys, very nice, having a Rollie. I bought my Lambo about like 8-9 months ago, my first supercar ever. It's all nice and beautiful, but once I hit them, I didn't really feel like I needed to get more materialistic stuff. I really enjoy, to be honest, these days, just to invest my money. I buy a bunch of stocks these days, and I'm also going to buy some more real estate. I got some real estate on international overseas as well. That's what I love to do. I get more excitement if I buy something that I know is going to give me more passive income in years, because you don't want to be working all day. You want to work on something you like and you enjoy, something that you feel passion for. Because if you do something that feels like play to you and work for others, that is when you're going to excel compared to other people. That is what you want to have, that situation. So I invest all my money. So you want to get good liquid into your bank account so you can invest it, I made some good gains in the stock market, thank God. So Chargeback.io, that is a killer. Very important, guys. Chargeback.io. Next thing, having a very killer and good backend system. Okay, so a backend. So the crucial points of this, as a CEO leading it, is that you have to know all your numbers. You gotta know your numbers. And so what do we always make sure? We always make sure, of course, whenever we sell a particular product, that we always ask, after we make 5 or 10 orders a day with this specific product, we ask our supplier immediately. Or let's say my supply chain manager does it, obviously, because I have great systems. I'm a good CEO. At least I try to be. How is the product quality? How do we check this? We check the product quality by asking the supplier for photos and images of the product, and we compare it with what we're advertising and our product page. If it doesn't look like each other, stop selling the product. It's that simple. You can do very cool, scale the 4, 5, 6 ROASs, but you're gonna get fucked. If you don't listen to me and you still do it, you're like, maybe I can get away with it. You will look back at this video again after 1 or 2 months and you'll say, fuck, I wish I listened to Ecom Legends. Next thing, amount of orders a day. Ask your supplier, how many can you get me? I had a friend of me who used to scale back in 2019, nano projectors. He scaled to 600K a day with it, and he sold so much in whole China, there was no stock anymore. So you gotta know how many orders a day you can do with this product, how many can they produce. Number 2, you wanna not only know the shipping time, right, obviously, but what you also wanna know, guys, which is very important, is the dispatch time. Because everybody talks about shipping time, but nobody talks about the dispatch time. And the dispatch time is a time that it takes from the moment the order takes place till the moment the order gets shipped out, which can be sometimes, with some shit suppliers, even a week. Bro, my products, the moment they get ordered, they get delivered within a week. So the dispatch time of your products should be not longer than 24 hours. Sometimes 48 hours can happen, but not longer. This is a key. And for your backend system also, what's very important, guys, is besides, of course, having a backend manager, right? And you have customer support agents under you. So in terms of the system for the backend, how we have it is you have a backend manager, and then obviously you have in your team customer support agents, you have dispute agents, and then you have, of course, also a supply chain manager. Very important. I put a C here because SM can be store manager, supply chain manager. These are the key components in your whole team, in your backend team. And your backend manager is to make sure that all the numbers and the KPIs are being met and the deadlines are being met and shit gets solved. Having these systems are crucial. If you want me to send you over the systems that we use and the templates that we have, send me a DM on Instagram, template, and I will send them over to you. Like which templates we use for our backend. I will send them. It's gonna be too much if I share it in here. These are crucial for your e-commerce business. You need those. You need those. And then yeah, as I said, guys, KPIs need to be met. And obviously, most importantly, out of everything I can here talk about, dialed the fuck in. I can send you all my sheets. You can watch this video 10 times. But if you are not really dialed in and you don't actually know your numbers, then everything you are doing here, watching here, is all for nothing. Make sure you don't have that. Because when you dial all of this in that I showed you guys in the backend, that all the issues I saw people getting and the ones I also used to have, which broke everything with me, which almost made me go back to my 9 to 5 after making my first 600K profit, you know, because I lost it all. Long story short, 500K lost overnight and had to make a comeback. Horrible, horrible shit, but yeah, that's life. You won't have it, you know? So, because believe me, like finding a winning product, understanding creatives, new angles, understanding your avatar, your audience, you're gonna do all of that. But dialing things in the backend and making sure you don't have these issues, that is another story, you know? That is so important, guys. Yeah, man. So guys, that was pretty much it. And this is how you can fix that. If you follow this, I'm pretty sure you'll be fine. These are one of the most important things. And yeah, man, if you would like to learn from me as well and actually help you scale to the moon, outside of just watching here my YouTube videos, if you want to really scale to the moon, check the link below. If you want to learn from me more, if you want me to help you scale your business, it doesn't matter if you're doing nothing right now with e-com, it doesn't matter if you are doing 100K, 200K a month. We help people scale to 6 and 7 figures. So just click on the link below and apply. What are you waiting for?